Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes,
One more. Okay.
I will. I think this is.
Just say this is okay.
Maybe a little lower, probably.
Is it
Yeah.
working?
No. Hare Krishna.
Somebody switch it off from upstairs,
Oh,
from the mains.
okay.
Not this one.
Not from here. Ah, that's why it stopped. Hare Krishna, everyone. So if I can ask you to please be seated. So we're going to begin class today. And yep, we have the verse up on here. So before we start, I'd just like to seek the blessings from all those Vaishnavas here, all my seniors, that I may say something relevant and purifying for myself, and that we all may become closer to Krishna. Okay, so we're going to do a prayer, Jaya Radha Madhav. So we'll do a call and respond, just as you've been doing with the Kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Giri Varadhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari. Yamun Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, so so he's going to be talking about chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, and we're going to be going through 4 verses. So it's not just one verse today, you have 4 verses. It does mean that purport's going to be a little bit long, but please bear with me as we go through it. Before we start, can I just double check, like, how many of you have maybe read the Bhagavad Gita or have, well, probably, yeah, if you've read the Gita or maybe read parts of it? Just get a show of hands. Okay, so a few of you. So what we're going to do, we always begin reading of the Bhagavad Gita with an invocation. So if you have the Gita at home, then you'll find this invocation at the beginning. It's an auspicious way to read. So we always have, for every scripture, you'll find that there's an invocation that you should read at the beginning to set up the right mood and your intentions for that time. So if you know the invocation, then please, it's the Mangalacharan. So if you know it, then please sing it with me. If you don't, then please just close your eyes and fold your hands. And we'll pray. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And then we'll do the Dhruva Maharaj prayers. So again, I'll recite them and then you can respond. We'll do it 3 times. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prabhupada Ki Jai. All right, so I think probably even if you haven't read the Bhagavad Gita, then you'll know that it's a conversation between Krishna, Lord Krishna, and his dear friend Arjuna. And it's set on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So what we'll do is, I think, yep, we can see the verse. So what we'll do is I'll read the verse and we'll do call and respond on that. So do your best, it's quite long. Yatro paramate chitam Nirudam yoga sevaya Yatra chaivatmanatmanam Pashyan atmani tusyati Sukhamatyantikam yattad Buddhigrayam atindriyam Veti yatra na chaivayam Stitas chalati tattvataha Yam ladva chaparam labham Manyate nadikam tataha Yasmin stito na dukhena Gurunapi vichalyate Tam vidya dukha samyoga Viyogam yoga samnitam. Okay, we'll try it one more time. Now you get the swing of it. Yatro paramate chitam Nirudam yoga sevaya Yatra chaivatmanatmanam Pasyanatmani tushyate Sukhamatyantikam yattad Buddhigrayam atindrayam Veti yatra na chaivayam Stitaschalati tattvataha Yam ladva cha param labham Manyate nadikam tataha Yasmin sthito na dukhena Gurunapi vichalyate Tam vidyam tad dukha samyoga Viyogam yoga samnitam. Okay, so we'll go to the translation. And we'll do call and respond as well. Okay, so in the stage of perfection called trance, or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities. By practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self, by the pure mind, and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth. And upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Thank you. So I'll read the purport. So one of the, my understanding is that Krishna is describing the state of samadhi, and because of the qualities are all interspersed within these 4 verses, 6.20 up until 623, so that's why Prabhupada has kind of joined them together in this way for this purpose. So it makes more sense for us. As I said, the purport is very rich, a little technical, and I'll try my best to try and explain or share what I understand. But I'll read the purport to you now. I would say that because it's quite long, maybe it might be good to just close your eyes and try to really concentrate and see if you can follow with me. Okay? By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. This is the primary characteristic of the yoga principle. And after this, one becomes situated in trance or samadhi, which means that the yogi realizes the supersoul through transcendental mind and intelligence, without any of the misgivings of identifying the self with the superself. Yoga practice is more or less based on the principles of the Patanjali system. Some unauthorized commentators try to identify the individual soul with the supersoul, and the monists think this to be liberation. But they do not understand the real purpose of the Patanjali system of yoga. There is an acceptance of transcendental pleasure in the Patanjali system, but the monists do not accept this transcendental pleasure out of fear of jeopardizing the theory of oneness. The duality of knowledge and knower is not accepted by the non-dualist, but in this verse, transcendental pleasure, realized through transcendental senses, is accepted. And this is corroborated by Patanjali Muni, the famous exponent of the Yuga system. The great sage declares in his Yoga Sutras, Purushata shunyam yanam gunanam prasavaha kaivalyam svarupa pratashta vachiti shakti iti. This chitti shakti, or internal potency, is transcendental. Purushata means material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and at the end, the attempt to become one with the Supreme. This oneness with the Supreme is called Kaivalyam by the monist. But according to Patanjali, this Kaivalyam is an internal or transcendental potency by which the living entity becomes aware of his constitutional position. In the words of Lord Chaitanya, this state of affairs is called Cetodarpana Marjanam, or clearance of the impure mirror of the mind. This clearance is actually liberation, or Bhava Maha Davagni Nirpanam. The theory of nirvana, also preliminary, corresponds with this principle. In the Bhagavatam, this is called Swarupana Vyavastista Deha. The Bhagavad Gita also confirms this situation in this verse. After nirvana, or material cessation, there is the manifestation of spiritual activities, or devotional service to the Lord, known as Krishna consciousness. In the words of the Bhagavatam, Svarupena Vyavastistihi, this is the real life of the living entity. Maya, or illusion, is the condition of spiritual life contaminated by material infection. Liberation from this material infection does not mean destruction of the original eternal position of the living entity. Patanjali also accepts this by his words, Kaivalyam Svarupa Pratista Vachiti Shakti iti. This Chitti Shakti, or transcendental pleasure, is real life. This is confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra as Anandamaya Vyasat. This natural transcendental pleasure is the ultimate goal of yoga and is easily achieved by execution of devotional service or bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga will be vividly described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the yoga system, as described in this chapter, there are two kinds of samadhi, called saprajñata samadhi and asamprajñata samadhi. When one becomes situated in the transcendental position by various philosophical researches, he is said to have achieved samprajñata samadhi. In the asamprajñata samadhi, there is no longer any connection with mundane pleasure, for one is then transcendental to all sorts of happiness derived from the senses. When the yoga is once situated in this position, in this transcendental position, he is never shaken from it. Unless the yogi is able to reach this position, he is unsuccessful. Today's so-called yoga practice, which involves various sense pleasures, is contradictory. A yogi indulging in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Even those yogis who are attracted by the siddhis, perfections, in the process of yoga are not perfectly situated. If yogis are attracted by the byproducts of yoga, then they cannot attain the stage of perfection, as is stated in this verse. Persons, therefore, indulging in the make-show practice of gymnastic feats or siddhis should know that the aim of yoga is lost in that way. The best practice of yoga in this age is Krishna consciousness, which is not baffling. A Krishna-conscious person is so happy in the occupation that he does not aspire for any other happiness. There are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practicing Hatha Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. But there is no such problem in executing Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. As long as the material body exists, one has to meet the demands of the body, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But a person who is in pure Bhakti Yoga, or in Krishna consciousness, does not arouse the senses while meeting the demands of the body. Rather, he accepts the bare necessities of life, making the best use of a bad bargain, and enjoys transcendental happiness in Krishna consciousness. He is callous toward incidental occurrences, such as accidents, disease, scarcity, and even the death of a most dear relative. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga, Accidents never deviate him from his duty. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 14, Agampayino nityas tams titikshava bharata. He endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows that they come and go and do not affect his duties. In this way, he achieves the highest perfection in yoga practice. Okay, so thank you for staying with me. Thank you, children. Well done. It was a long purport, and you concentrated very nicely, so well done. So we talked about the Gita first. Maybe I'll ask now, since we have a few in the room. How many of you are actually chanting a round of japa, mala, on beads? Okay, quite a few of you. That's nice. That's nice. So since some of you are maybe kind of newer to the Gita or less familiar with the detailed texts, so I was just thinking, like, in terms of the Gita, how I think of it. This is described that it's a bit like a sandwich. Why is it like a sandwich? Why do you think it's like a sandwich? Okay, so we think of the first 6 chapters as these are how we live in this world. So it's one side of it's the top piece of bread, or the bottom piece of bread, if you like. Then we have the middle 6 chapters, which are all about loving in this world, bhakti yoga. It's the filling, it's the good stuff. And then we have the top slice of the Bhagavad Gita, the top slice of bread. And that is all about jnana, renunciation, knowledge and renunciation. And we think of that as leaving this world. So in a sense, we can think of the Gita as our guidance, our instructions for living, loving, and leaving this world. And one of the key foundations that Krishna explains in these early chapters is that we are the spirit soul. We're not the body. This is an important concept for us to recall as we go through the rest of this verse today. So where is Arjuna? He's about to fight a war. But he pauses, he stops, and he starts asking Krishna questions. He's like going, okay, he has all these doubts. He's thinking, okay, what's the right thing to do here? You know, should I be fighting in this war? My family's here, all my dear teachers. You know, if I continue with this war, I'm going to end up killing them or being killed by them. What's the point of this battle? What's the point of winning this if all my family and my loved ones are dead? What will I enjoy? So, although this is a battlefield, it's actually very relatable for us, and maybe some of you at home might feel like it's a bit of a battlefield. The things that we think about, we face these questions, like, you know, with our own situations, work, you know, our family, relationships, sometimes with children, and we're always looking for how to address it. How can we handle it? So this is where the Gita comes in to help us. In chapter 2, Krishna is asked by Arjuna. Arjuna says, what are the symptoms of a sadhu? So what does a perfect person look like? What should I be like? And in chapter 6, which is where we are now, it's about Dhyana Yoga. So it's about Krishna is kind of trying to show Arjuna how to get there. And now in these verses, Krishna goes further and he describes a state where the mind becomes completely peaceful and a person feels fully satisfied from within. So naturally our question is this even possible for us today? Is this really real? So in these verses, I said I will try my best to try and share what I understand. So in these verses, Krishna tells us about the quality of samadhi, a stage of perfection, meditation so intense that the mind is totally under control. No more constant distraction, no more anxiety, no more overthinking. How great would that be? So imagine this practically. We don't think about the future. We're not worried about problems. We're not disturbed by them. We're not dependent on external things for our happiness. We're not worried. Will I be able to pay the mortgage? Does that person like me? Or should I have that second helping of prasadam? So we're completely steady. And one experiences spiritual happiness beyond anything worldly, any worldly material pleasures. And Krishna says that once you experience this, once you attain this, you feel there is no greater gain. So this is great, but sometimes it feels a little abstract, right? How do we connect with this? So there's one example that I quite liked, which I think it's about a sculptor. I think it was Michelangelo, but I'm not sure that's confirmed, so I won't say it's bona fide. But basically, he was once asked, he sculpted a beautiful elephant out of stone. And he was asked, like, how did you make such a beautiful sculpture? How did you do it? And he answered, well, the figure is already in the stone. All I had to do was carve out all the bits that weren't the elephant. Just carve out the bits that aren't the elephant. Okay, that's great. So in the same way, Krishna is describing a process where we're not trying to build something new. We're trying to uncover what we already have. The soul is already peaceful. It's already satisfied. It's just covered by distractions, by all the things that we're plagued with every day, our conditioning over so many lifetimes. And through this process of yoga, especially bhakti, these coverings can be gradually removed. So Krishna is telling us this happiness is beyond the senses. So I was thinking, what does this transcendental happiness look like? And in bhakti, this is experienced through rasas, or relationships with Krishna, loving relationships with Krishna. And our acharyas explain that there are 5 types of loving relationships that we can have with Krishna. So, as Prabhuji mentioned earlier, we're coming up to Ram Navami. So one of the loving relationships that I think of that comes to mind, I'm sure probably many of you will relate, who is Lord Ram's greatest servant? Hanumanji. So this dasya bhav is one of those 5 types. And Hanumanji displays this wonderfully. Can anyone think of maybe one more type of loving relationship? Balaram, okay, guru. You thinking of it like in a guru relationship? As a bras, okay, as a dasya, okay, yeah, that's definitely bona fide. But I'm thinking of one other type of, not a dasya relationship, but maybe one other type. Maybe from the Damodar Ashkatam, the Damodar pastime. Sorry? Vatsalya, yes. Thank you, Mataji. And which, who displays Vatsalya? Yeah, thank you. So Mother Yashoda displaying Vatsalya, so parental love, which is a very different love than, obviously, maybe than Dasya love, Sakya love, any of these others. So, just wanted to sort of think of that. So, samadhi is not emptiness; it's a loving connection with Krishna. So then, as I was meditating on this verse, and I was thinking about perfection, and like we hear this all the time, like practice makes perfect. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's good. But I remembered what my daughter's taekwondo teacher used to tell us. He used to say, no. Perfect practice makes perfect. So we could keep doing things time after time after time, and sorry, but it's not going to work unless we're doing it right. Like, for example, if I'm making chapati or rotis, which I do sometimes, I'm honest, if I don't use the right combination of flour and water, it's not going to work, right? I could do it 100 times. It's still going to be awful. It's not going to give the result. And we have to think about things like this. So we have personalities like Lord Brahma. And if you remember from creation, Lord Brahma, he was there thinking, I've got to do, Krishna, the Supreme has asked me to create this world, create the 3 worlds. I don't know how to do it. So he meditates for 100 years on tapa, austerity. He meditates and he gains the wisdom to create the world. We also have one of our pastimes, and the personality is there in the picture on the wall here. Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was he was also incredibly. He performed so many austerities, but his mood was, I want to be immortal. Right? His intention was, I want to live forever. I want to be the strongest, the most powerful. So they both performed this intense practice, but they had different intentions. So this is where Krishna is describing perfection as not just controlling the mind, but he's saying a state where the mind is absorbed in spiritual happiness. So real perfection is not just mechanical discipline. It's having that direction. So it's not just how hard we practice, what are we practicing for? And in this verse, Krishna is saying that perfection means you become satisfied within, steady and connected to him. And actually, we have a beautiful example of this kind of steadiness. As Prabhuji mentioned, and I've just referred to it again, but hey, it's nice to keep remembering Lord Rama. So Ram Navami is coming, and Lord Rama, he's described as Maryada Purushottam, the ideal king, the ideal Lord, the perfect king. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect leader. But it's not just his actions, it's his steadiness. So on the very day that he was meant to be crowned king, he was told, you need to go into exile for 14 years. There's no protest, no anger, no resentment. Completely steady, unfazed. And that's what Krishna is describing. So a person who is situated in the truth is not shaken. Even the greatest difficulty does not disturb them. So perfection is not just doing the right thing externally, but it's also having a consciousness that remains steady no matter what happens. Okay. So again, where does that leave us? It all seems very lofty, very high. Samadhi, perfect leader. Perfection. So in this age of Kali, this age of quarrel, hypocrisy, there are so many obstacles to practicing this yoga. In the purport, they talk about Patanjali's yoga system. A system of postures like Hatha Yoga, meditation, pranayama, breathing. Could we achieve this level of meditation today? How many of you think you could achieve this kind of level of meditation today? Okay. Mataji can. So in this age, these are very difficult to perfect. We're so tempted by our senses. The smell of baking bread. That picture of that island, that beautiful desert island, we want to go. Our mind is transported immediately to going to buy, to eat something, or to actually desiring or lusting for it. Even Arjuna says, later in the chapter, he says, the mind is restless and unsteady. So what chance do we have? Most of us would say it's very difficult. And one reason for that is that we don't always have a clear sense of purpose. If the mind doesn't have a higher purpose, it will naturally run towards distractions, anxieties, sense enjoyment. Keshav Maharaj tells us that purpose is the best alarm clock in the world. If you have purpose, you wake up naturally with energy. So the question is not just how to control the mind, but what are we giving the mind to focus on? And this is where Krishna consciousness becomes so powerful. This is why Krishna, time and time again, through the Gita, comes back to bhakti, to devotional service. Because it gives us a clear goal, a prayojana. It gives us a clear relationship and a clear process to get there. Because we can't simply empty our minds, we have to engage the mind in some purpose. To detach from something, we need to attach to something else. I think most of us are here in the grahastha householder life, managing families, home responsibilities, raising our families, raising children. And we might think, how can I reach perfection? But one thing it's important to know is that Krishna isn't asking us to become sannyasis or even go and live in the forest and be a perfect yogi. Krishna is asking us to remember him. Even a little bit done sincerely has great value. There's a pastime I really like to read. Does everyone know Narada Muni? You come across Narada Muni? I think most people have, right? The transcendental spaceman. He traveled throughout the universe, delivering the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to sincere souls and instigating love of God. And he used to say, Narayan, Narayan. That was his kind of calling card, right? He'd say Narayan, Narayan. He'd say the name of the Lord, whoever he met. So only one time, Narada Muni, he's visiting the Lord in the heavenly abode. And he says to the Lord, Lord, who's your greatest devotee? Who's your greatest devotee? He knows, he chants, he says Narayan, Narayan every single second. So he's like going, it's me, right? It's me. Lord Vishnu pondered for a while. And he then says to Narada Muni, his greatest devotee is this poor farmer who lived in a small village in India. Narada Muni was obviously disappointed. It was like, it should be me. And then he says, no one chants your name more than I do. I chant Narayan, Narayan every second of my life. The Lord smiled and said, okay, look, this might take some time to explain. Could you do me an errand? Could you do me could you do something for me? So Narada's thinking, oh, okay, of course, the Lord is asking me, of course I will do it. Yes, I will. So The Lord smiles and he gives him a bowl full of oil. Right to the top, a bowl. Really full. Couldn't get anything else in there. Absolutely full. And he says, I'd like you to take this right around the world. Don't spill a single drop. And then come back to me. Okay? Right around the world. So, Narada takes the bowl. And he carefully goes around the world. Super, super careful. This is an errand for the Lord. He can't spill anything. So he's fully focused, fully fixed. He comes back. Like, big smile, obviously. You would be big smile. You've just done a service for the Lord. And he says, so Lord Vishnu says, thank you for running this errand for me, Narada. But tell me, how many times did you chant my name as you went around? So Narada Muni, he was speechless. He was like, oh, yeah, I was so focused, I was so fixed on this that I forgot to chant or remember the Lord's name. But then he says, but Lord, I did this for you. It was a service, I did this for you. It was your service. So then Lord Vishnu says, yeah, but you know that farmer? I gave him his duty. I gave him his life, his work. And every day he still remembers me. He finds time to remember me. And so, I guess, and that's what makes him the greatest devotee. And I guess my thought process here is that it's not really about, that time that we spend in that sense. It's how sincerely we're remembering Krishna. And that farmer, he had purpose. Even in his busy, busy life, up at dawn, sleep, he remembered the Lord. Okay, so where does this leave us? We've gone through 8 million species of life to get here, to become human, right? 8 million species of life to become human. And even more rare than that is that we've overcome the conditioning. So all of you, everybody in this room, has overcome that conditioning to be in this room, to be trying to transform your lives, to connect to the Lord. Wherever you're here, you may be here because you came with a friend. You may be here because you were brought here. But there was a reason. That's why you're here, to connect to the Lord. They say that yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. But today is the present. That's why they call it a gift. And it's so important that we take and we don't waste any moment in our lives. So almost all of us are at the level where we have to perform some activities, right? We have to do, where mind must be actively doing something. To reach the stage of perfection is rare. That's why Lord Chaitanya gave us the simplest of yagnas, or sacrifices for this age. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalau nasti, eva nasti, eva nasti, eva gatir anyata. The translation of this is, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Even if we fail, there is no loss. We simply pick up where we left off in the next life. But we don't need to think about failure. We focus on the here and now. Let's take our chance to reach Krishna in this lifetime. So, if you're not chanting, maybe take 10 minutes of your day. 10 minutes. We can all find 10 minutes, right? if you don't have a japa, or a bead bag, a mala, there are some available here at the gift store, so you can get them from here. But just 10 minutes of your day. And we don't do this alone. One thing we have to understand is that by the mercy of the Vaishnav, one gets Krishna. Without the mercy of the Vaishnav, we don't. So whilst there are many things we have to consider in our relationships with other devotees, our acharyas explain that our relationships grow in love through simple exchanges. One of the most simplest exchanges, exchange of prasadam, food. Giving and receiving prasadam. Giving and receiving gifts. Sharing something in confidence. Or, obviously, receiving, listening. But it isn't just a case of receiving these things. We have to do it without that kind of wanting something back. It's a selfless purpose. So we may not be in samadhi today, but if we chant sincerely, associate with devotees, and remember Krishna, then gradually that steady, peaceful state will come. So we're almost at time. So we'll just do a short recap. So what we discussed today, so that real happiness comes from connection to Krishna, not material control, and in Kali Yuga this is achieved through bhakti, not mechanical meditation. We talked about the quality of samadhi, and we talked about the challenges, and how Krishna gives us a practical path. Lord Chaitanya has given us chanting in this yuga. So we'll close there, and it'd be nice if we can do one round of the Mahamantra together, and I'll lead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So at this stage we have maybe just a few minutes left before Aarti begins, and I always want us to be able to start Aarti on time. So maybe if anyone has any comments, any corrections, or any questions, then it'd be nice to hear. If anyone has any tips, Mataji? So the question was, what is self-respect? Okay. Can you give me where this question is coming from? Maybe help me a little bit. What is real self-respect? So, within us, the Lord is present, right alongside our soul, our jiva, and we have the super soul. We have the Lord with us as well, our Paramatma. So, respecting, I suppose, since we are a part and parcel of the Lord, if we don't give ourselves self-respect, we are essentially almost creating an offence to the Lord. Maybe if you can maybe expand on your question, is there anything in particular? Is it, you mean cultivating self-respect, or? This is very true, very nice. So the question is, how do we train that muscle of self-respect? I think when we start introspecting, there is a danger that we may overthink. We may be overcritical of ourselves. And this is something that a bhakta wouldn't do. And why would a bhakta not actually engage in kind of, almost like self-harm? Because one of our chief offenses is around criticizing. And so if we're criticizing ourselves, we're already offending. So, but now you asked, how can we cultivate a sense? One of the things that we can do is by loving Krishna and loving other devotees. So we talk very simply, very, just a two-second burst around loving relationships with other devotees. And I think when we can see Krishna in all of those around us, we start to cultivate that sense of love. And actually, when we cultivate that sense of love, then automatically we don't think so much of ourselves. When we think about it, they talk about like humility, and actually, we can very easily misunderstand humility as thinking less of ourselves. But actually, we understand that humility is thinking of ourselves less. So when we engage in that muscle of loving others, then we automatically will think less of ourselves. Think of ourselves less, just to get it right. Okay, we have time for one more question. Was that okay, Mataji? Hare Krishna. We have time for one more question, if there is any, or comments, or tips on bhakti. We have some very senior members in our audience today. Okay, all right. So we'll close there with one more Maha Mantra, and then I'll hand you over to the other team. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you.
Prakash Prabhu ki. Hare Krishna. So we're now going to be starting the Aarti ceremony, but if you were sitting on one of the blue cushions, could I just request you to go and put it in the corner by the exit over there? Just stack them up in the corner nicely. And we'll be having our usual Aarti ceremony, so the lyrics are on the screen. And we'll be singing in our usual call and response fashion. So therefore, Paramakaruna Prabhu, he will sing first. And we just listen. And then we sing back loud as we can. Everyone ready? That didn't sound so loud. Yeah. Okay, we shall begin shortly. Be sure. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura
Nitai. Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Ka Shobha. Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Ka Shobha. Janavita Tavane Jagamana Lobha. Janavita Tavane Jagamana Lobha. Dakhine Nitai Chan Bhame Gadadhara. Dakhine Nitai Chan Bhame Gadadhara. Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradhara. Nikate Advaita Srini Vasa Chatradhara. Boshi Ache Gaura Chan Ratna Simhasane. Boshi Ache Gaura Chan Ratna Simhasane. Arati Kore Na Brahma Adi Devagane. Arati Kore Na Brahma आदिदेव गाने नर हरि आदि कोरे छामर दुलाया नर हरि आदि कोरे छामर दुलाया संजय मुकुंद वासु घोषादि गाया संजय मुकुंद वासु घोषादि गाया शंख बजे घंटा बजे बजे करताला शंख बजे घंटा बजे बजे करताला मधुरा मृदंगा बजे परम रसाला मधुरा मृदंग बजे परम रसाला शंख बजे घंटा बजे माधुर 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 बजे शंख बजे घंटा बजे माधुर 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 बजे शंख बजे घंटा बजे मधुर 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 बजे निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल बाहु कोटि चंद्र जिने वदन उज्ज्वला बाहु कोटि चन्द्र जिने वदन उज्ज्वल